Hello everybody and welcome to Nathan on Shuffle and to my latest episode here of New Music Weekly, the show where I give you guys the top 5 prog news headlines for the week, introduce you guys to some new prog singles, and give you updates on what's happening on the channel here on Nathan on Shuffle. It's January 27th, 2024. I believe this is the third show I'm doing this year. For New Music Weekly. There's some interesting news items that I think will be fun to get into, and if you haven't subscribed yet, as always, a subscription would be much appreciated for the channel. It helps the growth and helps me to have the confidence to keep doing these episodes and to keep delving into the news for you guys. So it's a lot of fun to put this show together, and hopefully you guys are enjoying the experience. So Prog headline number 1, the new releases for this week. There's a new release from Caligula's Horse. Their album is called Charcoal Grace that just came out. A really great album from them. I did a review of it this week, so you could check out my review for my full thoughts. An Australian progressive metal band that's really very skilled, but also very emotional and heartfelt in their music, and you can feel the depth of the music involved. So really great release. And The Smile had a release called The Wall of Eyes. This is a group that features 2 members of Radiohead, Tom York and Johnny Greenwood, and is somewhat of their new project. They had an album that came out in 2022, A Light for Attracting Attention, so this is their follow-up, more in the indie alternative rock vein, but I think Radiohead is a band that progressive music fans like, so I wanted to mention them as one of the big new releases. So those are the 2 that stood out to me this week, but let me know in the comments if there's other releases that you want to spotlight and bring attention to that I may have missed. I'm always interested to hear about it, and usually I go off and check those albums out because I'm wanting to check out all of the new music that's related to progressive rock in some fashion, because that's the whole thing I do here on the channel, is bring new progressive rock to the masses. So let me know of anything that I may be missing that you've been enjoying in this field. So number 2, some Rick Wakeman news. He's talked about his farewell tour. He's embarking on a tour of the U.S. with a series of solo piano concerts for the last time in 2024. Rick, who's become known for his intimate piano shows, as well known for those as his prog rock extravaganzas, has decided to call a halt to these lengthy American one-man tours and concentrate more on composing, recording, and collaborating with other musicians. So, and as an exclusive gift for Yes fans, it seems like Rick's going to be premiering a brand new piece of music, Yes Sonata, a 30-minute instrumental work featuring Yes themes and melodies woven into his sonata form. So that should be really cool to listen to for fans of Yes. Rick Wakeman is just a legend in the progressive music field, so kind of sad in a way that he's doing what he's calling a farewell tour, but obviously not retiring as a musician. Obviously he's going to continue to record and do many things, so it's not really the end of Rick Wakeman, but the end of one facet of what he's been doing, is these intimate piano concert tours that he's been doing. So it's definitely a can't miss experience, since this very well looks like it is the last time that he's going to be touring in this fashion in a solo piano and keyboard show. So should be really cool to check out. And then the other piece of Rick Wakeman news that I wanted to bundle in is that he's releasing a big box set, the Prog Years 1973 to 1977 CD plus DVD box set, an expansive collection that apparently got even more expanded lately. It seems like it was put on hold for a little bit, and they've reworked it a little bit and put some extra material together for the fans. So it includes 17 discs worth of never before released concert material, totaling 300 plus minutes, or a whopping 5 hours of live recordings, all previously unreleased. So now it's being known as the Prog Years Redo. The 32 disc box set is back in production with a brand new list of content and a new release date of February 23rd this year. So should be really cool. The compiler of the project, Rob Aileen, had this to say: totally out of the blue came a wave of previously unreleased concert recordings. I couldn't believe it when I discovered them. I generally know what was recorded and what wasn't, and then to find entire gigs from the 70s that had never before been released, I simply couldn't ignore them, especially if they got released later. The fans would rightly ask the question, why weren't these recordings in the Prog Years? It was a really tough decision to make to stop a box set in full production, but it was also a no-brainer to remove releases which have already been available in different formats over the years and replace them with a trove of music no one will own. So really cool that there's all sorts of cool material to put together that hasn't been released yet. If you're a huge Rick Wakeman or Yes fan, this seems like a must-have to listen to this big box set. So should be cool. Should be interesting for those who've pre-ordered and to see what they can expect as they arrive to people's homes. So a really cool project, a really cool box set. So that's what's going on with Rick Wakeman at the moment. Item number 3, Arian Lucason unveils a new project, Plan 9 project, with Robert Soeterboek. Arjen Lucassen, of course, is a well-known Prog musician who helms the Arian project, these big, sprawling concept albums that he puts together with tons of guest vocalists and guest musicians, very much in the prog rock, prog metal space. And it looks like this is a new release from Arian that features some interesting material that it's being called the Long Lost Songs because this was early 1990s material that was recorded with Robert Soeterboek, and they're bringing it to light now in the modern era. So really interesting. I believe Soeterboek was on early Arian projects, a vocalist that Lucassen really enjoys and thinks has an incredibly charismatic and cool voice. So it's really interesting to see them collaborate here with something that sounds maybe a bit more 70s or 80s inspired melodic hard rock, maybe not quite in the proggier vein that Arian goes in, but something more akin to like a blues hard rock from the 70s and 80s. Should be really cool to see this come to fruition. Coming out, I believe, in May this year, if I remember correctly. So it should be a really cool project to look forward to. Yeah, May 17th, it's being released through Music Theories Recordings Mascot label group. So should be a really cool project. It sounds like they worked on it in the 90s, like I said, went their separate ways, but then are coming back to collab for this new project. So should be really fun to check out for fans of Arian and his work, or just fans of melodic hard rock from the 70s and 80s. So speaking of 80s material, item number 4, there's a new book coming out that's documenting the 80s prog scene that's being published in June called Mirror of Dreams, the Progressive Rock Revival 1981 to 1983, being published by Kingmaker Publishing on June 21st. Has been written by Andrew Wild, who also wrote some other things about Twelfth Night and Jeff Mann. Over 80 musicians participated in this book, were interviewed for it, including most of the members of Marillion, IQ, Palace, Pendragon, Solstice, and Twelfth Night, as well as Abel Gans, Airbridge, Comedy of Errors, Electric Gypsy, Galahad, Haze, It Bites, Jadis, Janiceum, La Host, The Lens, Liaison, Multi-Story, No Man, Pride of Passion, Quasar, Tamarisk Trilogy, and Twice Bitten. So a great smattering of 80s prog artists and bands. Some not as well known to me, but some bigger names in the mix there. So should be a cool book to look forward to if you're wanting to dive a little bit deeper into the 80s prog scene, which is always something I'm interested in because it's a little bit of a blind spot for me, the 80s music in general. I really love everything about 70s music and get really involved in and excited about it, but I don't know too much about the 80s. So cool to see what was happening in the prog scene in the 80s, and I think this book will cover it well. And it sounds like there's going to be a second volume to follow it up, due for publication by Kingmaker in 2025 to cover the years from 1984 to 1989. So that should be interesting to look at as well. So a really cool book to look for if you're interested in history and the 80s prog scene. And then item number 5, I thought this was interesting. Fish has announced the Road to the Isles European Tour 2024. Fish, of course, was the lead singer for Marillion back in the 80s, the aforementioned prog 80s. Went off to have a very illustrious solo career as well, and has produced some of the most outstanding prog solo albums over the past 30 so years. And it looks like he's doing a lengthy European tour now under the moniker of Road to the Isles Tour 2024 to 2025, starting in October in Luxembourg and running through to Berlin in November. It will be the last European tour ahead of his retirement. So another one to check out before he retires here. Really should be a cool experience for those who are fans of Fish, and never something you can't miss, because this probably is the last time he'll do a tour like this, it sounds like. Just like I said with Rick Wakeman, some of these older musicians, they're retiring, or they're slowing down, or, refocusing, and so it's important to catch them while you still can. It looks like ticket and links for tickets will go on sale on February 2nd. So something to check out if you're a fan of Fish and his material. So moving on to the Prog singles list, I've got that Plan 9 project from Arian Lucason. Before the Morning Comes is the single they've released, so you can check out a sample of what that might sound like. Like I said, more 70s, 80s style, hard rock, blues rock perhaps, not very proggy, but still really well done music that I think is well worth your time. Elbow has come out with a new single called Lover's Leap. This is straight ahead of their performance of it on Graham Norton's show on BBC One Television in the UK. But they have the single out to listen to as well on whatever services, or on YouTube, or whatever you want. The album that this single comes from is Audio Vertigo, which should be coming out on March 22nd, so should be cool for fans of Elbow. Once again, maybe not supremely proggy, but I think they have enough connection to the prog world that it's worth it to hear their tracks, and it's a cool little single, so I wanted to feature it on the channel. Von Hertzen Brothers have a track, Sunday Child, which is a live track from their upcoming live album, which is being released February 16th, live at Tavastia. This should be a really cool one to check out, this live release, because Von Hertzen Brothers are known for great live performances, and this track, Sunday Child, is taken from their 2015 album, New Day Rising, just showcasing their abilities, and a great track from them to listen to and to revel in the live performance of it all. So that's definitely worth checking out. There's a new Steven Wilson remakes track here, Steven Wilson's Inclination, which came out on his album The Harmony Codex last year, but this is the Ewan Pearson remakes, which kind of turns it into a little bit more of a disco style track, perhaps more a dance club type style to it. But I thought it was interesting to hear a different take on this, which was the opening track from Steven Wilson's latest. It talks about it as it's been remixed by producer, mixer, and DJ Ewan Pearson into 9 minutes of gloriously cosmic Balearic music to chill out to. And Steven Wilson has spoken highly of this, that he's really excited about this release, so wanted to put it on my list here. And then I have a track from the Bardic Depths called What We Really Like in Stories. This is a UK prog rock quartet, features Peter Jones on the vocals, also of Cyan, Camel, and Tiger Moth Tales as well. This album is called What We Really Like in Stories. This is the title track from it, and it's going to be released March 8th via Gravity Dream, and the track talks about a conversation between C.S. Lewis and Tolkien, so delves into their history and their discussions as well. So just a classic proggy track that harkens back to, classic Genesis and Yes and those types of things. So definitely one that could be enjoyed if you like that sort of material. Really incredible track. And then a bonus track on my list, Temic has released an acoustic version of Falling Away from their latest album, Terror Management Theory, their big progressive metal debut that came out, that I put on my list of one of my favorite records of last year, so definitely worth checking out for a more stripped back version of one of their best tracks from their latest album. So should be a cool list of tracks to listen to. It's all in the description, all the links to the YouTube videos to check those out if you're interested in listening to some new singles. So that's the list of stuff I have for you guys today. As for the channel itself and what's going on here, it was a cool week. Like I mentioned, the Charcoal Grace album review came out this past week from Caligula's Horse. I really enjoyed the album. Now it's out for you guys to enjoy, so if you want to check out my review, I'd really appreciate that. It's was a lot of fun to talk about, and I think I really grew to love the album over repeat listens. And then I did my final Jethro Tull month show. Me and Jana talked about the classic album Aqualung from Jethro Tull. Getting Jana's first impressions from hearing the album in full was a really exciting endeavor, and hopefully you guys will check that out as well. It was really fun to focus on Jethro Tull this month and to do some interesting videos. And moving into next month, we're going to be getting into some Rush material as we get into February as Rush month. Should be a lot of cool stuff to look forward to. Album rankings, some cool reactions with Jana, some album spotlights from their career, and a beginner's guide for those who want to get into Rush or know more information about Rush and their career. So should be a cool smattering of shows, some cool new music spotlights coming up in the near future of some big albums that are coming out in the next few months. And of course, a classic Prog Song Sunday tomorrow with Jana for an absolute gem of a prog song that I really love from the 70s. So should be a good one to check out. And hopefully you guys have been enjoying the channel and what's been going on here. It's been fun to put these shows together, and I hope you guys have been enjoying it all. And let me know in the comments how you feel about this episode and about prog music in general. I'm always happy and listening with open ears. So thank you guys, and just keep enjoying the music out there. Bye, everybody.